Hey folks, hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel. Happy Saturday night, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. It's been pretty cool so far. Had a nice relaxing day today, hanging out with the boys, having a stogie. So I hope you all had a great weekend. So we got a few people in here already. This is very cool. Music Therapy Laz, how you doing? Uncle Denny is gonna finish watching Rick and Jim. Oh, okay, so SOT's going on at the same time. I had no idea. Gary Joyce, hey buddy, how are you? Nice to see you. Rob Fulton, good morning from Northern Ireland, 2 a.m. here. Hopefully I won't keep you up too much, Rob, but thanks for being here. And Mr. Papa Blue, how you guys doing? So this is nothing big tonight. Just the I do these usually once a month. Just a hangout, shoot the shit, whatever you guys want to talk about. I'm not playing this tonight, so I got the weekend off. It's been a crazy run that we've been going through. Man, it's been like I'm not complaining. It's great, that we're as busy as we are doing bar gigs and cover shows and all that kind of thing. But it's also nice to be home on a Saturday night once in a while. So, but we start up again next week. So and then I think I get some time off in December. So, Tyler Patterson, how you doing? James Swiderski, good evening, James. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys follow the channel. We did a show on Thursday night that's getting all kinds of attention. I had no idea that show was gonna blow up as much as it did. I'm just eye candy. Yeah, you have to go to the dentist after this show, Papa Blue. Yeah, that show, man, I think, shit, we got tons of comments. There's a few people in there beating me up, which I guess they missed the whole point of the thing. But, the whole point of it was, if you didn't watch the show, the show was called Bands We Just Can't Get Into, right? So, each myself, Pete, Martin, and we all picked like 5 bands that we, for whatever reason, we just never clicked with. And the what I'm getting the most heat from is one of the bands I picked was Alice in Chains, and primarily, really, it's the vocals. It's not the music. If Ozzy was singing for them, I'd love them, but it's just that the tonal character in the vocals that I'm not a big fan of. So. But it's funny though, like I'm reading the comments, and as much as I'm getting beat up on that, there's people in there saying they don't like Sabbath, they don't like Aerosmith, they don't like the Beatles, So it's like, so what do? You get upset at these people because they don't like these bands? I mean, again, it's all a personal preference. It's whatever you like, right? We don't all marry the same woman. We all have our different tastes, so. You just kind of take it as it is, right? It's nothing to be get upset about. It's ridiculous to get upset about somebody else's musical taste. It's just, that's beyond retarded, right? Also, show I did the other day with Pete and Martin. Do you have any honorable mentions or bands that didn't make your list? Oh, I've got a few. It's funny, Tyler. Like you think of the bands, and then of course once the show's over, hey Daniel, how are you? Once the show's over. Then you start to think of shit, and I should have mentioned this band. One of the bands that came up a lot in the comments was Grateful Dead. Yeah, I can't get into Grateful Dead. Now honestly, I say I haven't really tried. It's just there's nothing about the Grateful Dead that would make me even want to try. To be honest with you, the act that the artist that I did try to make an effort to, because a lot of people see a lot of merit in what he does, is Frank Zappa. And there was one album that was suggested to me, Zoot Allures. I think that's how you pronounce it. That album is okay. That album is probably his most digestible record. It's less, not, I would say the most normal sounding, but not the craziest. Anyways, that album I dug, but most of what Frank Zappa does is just beyond me. Hey Brian, how are you, buddy? Um, so yeah, another band that I should have mentioned, and if we do a part two, I might get into them, is Twisted Sister. Never had a lot of time for Twisted Sister. So off the top of my head, those would be my honorable mentions. Tyler, be Grateful Dead, Frank Zappa, and Twisted Sister, and I'm sure there'd be even more heat, especially with Frank, because I know people that like Frank don't like Frank. They love Frank. He's so, but it is what it is, man. A lot of people in the comments said they didn't like Rush. Believe that? How could you not like that riff? I'm offended that you don't like Rush. It's just silly. It's just silly. Queensryche. Yeah, Rob, um, Martin was saying to me that there's sort of I guess the new and well, I shouldn't say new and improved, but the new version of Queensryche with the new singer. It's like a whole new band, and that I should check that out. And at some point I will. I'm in the process now. I'm getting ready for an album homework show that Pete relaunched, and I was fortunate to be asked to participate in that. So, album homework assignment, that's what they call it. And so I'm checking out. I don't want to give it away, but basically the way that show works, I've done it before on Pete's channel when he did it earlier, a couple of years ago. You pick an album for somebody you listen to that they hadn't heard, and they do the same for you, and then you kind of get together and you discuss each other's records that were suggested. So I'm sort of digging into that record a little bit as well. So I want to, kind of listening to that a bunch of times, kind of make sure I get a really good feel for it. And I'm probably going to be recording that. I don't know when it's going to air, but I'm probably recording that next week. So, um, could never get into Zappa either. A little too abstract and wacky. Yeah, abstract. That's a good description, Daniel. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I get that he's a genius and all that, and crazy composer and all that. Talented composer, and again, saying you don't like somebody is not that there's no value in what they do. It's just it doesn't click with you, right? So. A lot of the early Rush is an entire album side. It's hard to digest when you're 13, maybe. Yeah, Brian. Yeah, but you know what? Like the thing with Rush, and I'll say the same thing. I mean, not that they're similar bands, but I'll say the same thing about Genesis. Is well, the first Genesis album. No, what's I wasn't the first couple of records of Genesis. I wasn't crazy about. Um, I'm trying to think of I'm so bad with names. What's the record that's got Supper's Ready on it? It's got a fox on the cover. He's wearing the fox head. From that album onwards, Selling England by the Pound is great. What I was gonna get at is when they've got these long songs, um, they with Genesis and both Rush, there's always parts in those songs that are really, really good, and they kind of, they hook you, as opposed to it just being a long song for the sake of being a long song. There's a lot of musical stuff in there, like, Hemispheres, right? Which is, side one is Hemispheres, but there's enough stuff going on in there. There's parts in there that are really, really cool. So that's kind of what for me anyway, keeps my attention and engaged in the music, even though it's like it could be a 20-minute, because it's almost like it's a 20-minute song, but it's really like, I don't know, a 20-minute song, but it's like 5 4-minute songs, kind of, because each section is almost like another song, just one leads into the other type of thing. And if those little bits are good, they keep you hooked. Yeah, the newest Queensryche albums are great, but not as good as the first four, in my opinion. I got to give The Warning another try, Rob. Um, I because I'm one of those people like when people, like I mean, like again when I say make an effort to get into these bands, I make an effort. So I may give Queensryche another shot. I don't think I'm gonna give Slayer another try because I can't do Slayer. I never could, and but I'll probably give Queensryche another shot. But I'll listen to the recent stuff, and then maybe I'll go back and revisit The Warning. Operation Mindcrime, though, that just doesn't cover cool. Doesn't cut it for me. I had buddies, okay, with all the early Rush albums, but we never heard that stuff on the radio in the U.S. outside of Working Man. Well, yeah, none of that stuff. Foxtrot, thank you, Daniel. Yeah, Fox, cover of a Fox, and I didn't get the title Foxtrot. Um, but yeah, none of that got airplay. Stuff, the only Rush album that's hard to digest, and you got to be a really hardcore fan, is probably Caress of Steel. That whole suite, is that's probably the hardest thing, the hardest long Rush song to kind of digest is that suite, with Necromancer and I forget the names of all the other parts, but that's a little bit hard to get through. Triumph was bigger where I grew up in Indiana. Yeah, well, Triumph, much more commercial band, much more radio play, right? You know, I've always preferred Rush over Triumph because usually when people are talking, what's your favorite Canadian band? Classic rock band. I always kind of Rush is like my top three bands of all time. You know, Cinderella was a big surprise for me. Cinderella was a I'm sorry, Mr. Rock, and welcome. Is that you couldn't get into them or you could get into them? I love Cinderella personally. I think they're phenomenal. I think Tom Kiefer is a hell of a musician, guitar player, and if you've ever seen live stuff of them playing, the guy's an amazing player. Most of the solos are him. Jeff LaBarre does some, but Tom does a lot. He's just got a really sort of grassroots kind of blues rock vibe that I just love. I find that a band's vocalist tends to be a deal breaker for a lot of people. If you can't dig the singing, it's hard to get. Yeah, well, that was my argument with Daniel. That was my argument with Merciful Fate. I mean, imagine for a moment if Dio was the singer for Merciful Fate. Just think of those songs with Dio's voice, man. They'd be like incredible, right? Because as soon as Dio opens his mouth, whatever is played underneath him just goes up like three notches, right? Trick of the Tail is a great album. Yeah, I love Trick of the Tail. Early Genesis, when they had the full band for me with the Peter Gabriel for me, I don't know. Lamb Lies Down or Selling English by the Pound. One of those, probably Selling English by the Pound is probably my favorite. Night Songs. Yeah, Night Songs was great. The worst thing that happened to Cinderella, Brian, was the cover of that record because they were all, glammed up, and then people were thinking, oh, these guys are like another Poison, but they had a lot more to them than Poison. They were just a really good straight up blues rock band, but they were marketed as a hair band or glam band, whatever you want to call it, and I think that was their biggest, their biggest issue. Yeah, Mr. Rock. Yeah, Cinderella's awesome. Hey, Russ, how are you, man? Nice to see you. Welcome, guys. Got a good turnout tonight. That's awesome. Yeah, Jeff passed away, I think, a year or two ago, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he was that old. Well, Tom Kiefer's still out there doing it, so Jeff was probably only in his early 60s, I would think. Yeah, Caress of Steel is definitely the least accessible. Yeah. Yeah, it's very dark and dense. And I mean, apparently when they made that record, they were just stoned out of their minds. They were just high as kites, right, when they recorded that whole thing. Yeah, the vocals are deal breaker. Yeah, I mean, well, speaking of Rush, right, early on, there was people that couldn't get past Geddy's voice, right? Especially on the early stuff, because back then he had a really high, really that high register that he was singing in a lot, and that turned a lot of people off to Rush early on. You notice that, later on, You know, shit, I guess really from moving pictures on, his voice kind of came down and kind of mellowed a little bit, you know, and you know, and I think that was part of one of the reasons why, you know, they had more mass appeal. I always wanted to play Decadent Dance by Nuno, but that's out of my wheelhouse. It's also out of mine, Papa Blue. Papa Blue. I've never attempted it. I don't think I could. I don't think I could do it. Yeah, more Bad Company than Poison. Yeah, for sure, Brian. Hey, Alan, how are you? Did you read Getty's book? Thought it was great. Yeah, I have it. I mean, you know, if I don't know, like I mean, not because he's on my channel often, but I bought the three Rush books that Martin wrote, and it's like they're really good. You know, he's got um, you know, one is like the first part, you know, of their career, then the second part of their career, and then you know the last years with you know when last tour and you know the passing of Neil Peart. And if you're a Rush fan, it goes through all the records, all the periods. There's lots of you know quotes from them and stuff, and it's just if you're a Rush fanatic, I don't even. You could message him and see if he still has those books available. They're amazing. Uh, Glad I got to see Rush in the mid '80s. They were fantastic. Yeah, I saw Rush on the Signals tour, and it was even at the and the Payolas were opening. And if you don't know who the Payolas are, Bob Rock was the guitar player for the Payolas, and before he was Bob Rock the producer. Um, and even back then they were already doing like they had the big screen and they had it would look, I mean, by today's standards it's very cheesy sort of digital, you know, movies going on, you know, like cartoony things. They had, I remember they had one for Red Barchetta with a car. It looked like a bad '80s video game, you know, when you're watching it. But they were always sort of pushing the edge, you know, of technology that was available at the time. Yeah, but in the same time, good vocals, tried solo albums, and never got the success they had with the first bands. Well, yeah, well, there's exceptions to that, right? And Dio being one of them. You know, there's always exceptions, but yeah, for the most part, you're right, Mister Rock. Yeah, that new stuff that Brian, that uh, Envy of None. I listened to some of that stuff. That stuff is it's a little bit out there. It's very atmospheric. It's you know, it's like soundscapey. You know, if you get that because you know you want to hear Alex Lifeson play, he's not playing like he plays in Rush. He's doing like a lot of soundscapey stuff. I mean, there are some select little solos and things in there, but you know the vocalist is phenomenal. I don't know her name, but she's an amazing singer, and some of the songs are okay, but it's really I don't know. I listen to I think they're most because they just put out a second record, and I like the first one better. But I listened to the second one, and it's not something that I'd go back to. I like your Lane Staley impression. I wasn't aware that I was doing an impression, but welcome, Total Eclipse. Yeah, it's just that nasally kind of, you know, it's like, I don't know. Get that guy a cookie. Been listening to a new album that came out yesterday by blues musician Chris. Oh, Kingfish. Yes. Yeah, Kingfish is an amazing blues player, man. Yeah, I was really tempted. He's got a signature guitar that's kind of similar to this. I was really tempted to buy because it's a great guitar. Kingfish is awesome. He's a great player. Billy Idol solo career. Yeah, there's another example of a guy that took off. Ethereal. That vid with Martin and Pete, you did. Oh, did I do a Lane Staley impression? Total Eclipse? I don't even recall doing that. All I know is I get a lot of nasty comments because I don't like Alice in Chains. Love the music. If they had another singer, I'd be right into it. If Dio sang for Alice in Chains, or if Ozzy sang for Alice in Chains, it would be amazing. Oh, Peter Gabriel. I haven't listened to the new Peter Gabriel. I haven't listened to his latest record. Because we did a Peter Gabriel ranking, and that record, I think, was like, it was a year away. And I never went back and listened to it. Bon Scott with the Valentines and after AC/DC 2. I don't think I've heard that. Bon Scott with the Valentines? Exactly. Hat Kingfish is amazing. Has 3 albums out. He's 26, which is pretty young for this type of music. Yeah. What am I playing through, Brian? So this is old school, dude. I'm going into my pedal board. So I got my my trusty Wampler Euphoria. That's what I'm using for drive, and I got a little bit of delay on reverb. And going into the runt. I'm playing the runt, and then I got the 2 notes captor. So I'm not coming out of the speaker. I got the 2 notes captor, and that's going directly into this thing here, which is my gig caster. So you're listening to Tube Amp. Because I'm not a fan of digital. You started with the Valentines, totally different style. Oh, okay. I got you. Tubes for the win. Oh, definitely, Brian. Definitely. Yeah. Gotta move air, brother. Gotta move air. I just did a show on the Contrarians channel that came out this week. And it was Fix an Album. And basically we're looking at Judas Priest, Ram It Down, and what would we change to make it better. And my first thing out of my mouth was use a tube amp. Because everything on there is all digital. Everything is digital. The guitars are just all digital, and there's no warmth. Everything sounds clinical and, you know, cold, and there's no like warmth and bottom. It's just terrible. Terrible. Mind you, that album was what, 87? I mean, the digital got better, but just not a fan of it. Marlon Hill, yes, that was rock bottom. Yeah, Shanker, man. Love Shanker. I thought 2 spare sets of match tubes for my Friedman JL in case of power. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't have any extra tubes, Brian. When they blow, that's when I buy them. And I guess I've been lucky with tubes. I've only changed tubes and probably off the top of my head twice in my life. I had when I had the Hughes and Kettner, because I use that a lot. So I swapped those tubes one time, and then the Marshall DSL 40, which is like my main when I do bar gigs. That's what I play whenever I can, which is like 80% of the time. I had to swap those tubes. And the worst thing that can happen to you, and it happened to me, and we're playing a full house, and there was this crazy place that we were playing, and my tubes were going out during the gig. And it was like, there was nothing you can do. Once they're on their way out, they're going to die. There's nothing you can do. And it was terrible. It was terrible. So I ended up, the last set, I just ended up plugging into the other guitar player because he was just a rhythm guy. Plugging into his amp to finish the show, and his amp was, I'm not gonna say much, but not good. And I sounded like Yas for the last bunch of songs, but hey. The thing with tubes, you can change the voicing of every amp. I changed RCA to Mezza on my Bogner line 6, different everything. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not, there's places for for multi effects or, you know, not captors, fractals and all that stuff, but for me to feel comfortable and be sort of in tune with what's going on, I gotta have a tube amp. Hey, GTU, Mr. Q, what's going on, brother? You know what, Marlon? I bet you any money, if you didn't see this, if you couldn't see what I was playing, you'd think this was a Gibson. You'd think this was a Les Paul. Listen to how Les Paul-y this sounds. Sounds like a Les Paul, buddy. But when I change pickups, I go to this. Now it sounds. Whoops. Now it sounds like a Fender. But I go to the bridge pickup. How's like a riff go? I forgot how to play Highway to Hell. Oh God, brain fart. Anyways. Okay. Are you a fan of Jared James Nichols and the guitar? Yeah, Jared James is a crazy good player, and he doesn't use a pick. It's all fingers. And he's a very expressive, really good player. And yeah, he's always got great tone. Definitely. Yeah, he's got this new guitar now, which is like a shrunken Explorer shape with a V-neck kind of a Dean head. That's his new thing. But he used to play basically a Les Paul's with just like his signature Les Paul is just a single P90. And that's kind of his thing. Have a Drink on Me, best song on Back in Black. Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Well, actually, I really like Shoot the Thrill a lot. Always liked that song a lot. Because I like the build of it. It's got a nice crescendo it builds up to. Whiskey, gin, and brandy. Yeah. Comes in pretty handy. You can do Gibson SG on Fender, but not vice versa. No, you can't. That's... You know what? That's absolutely right, Mr. Rock. Yeah. Well, keep in mind, this is two humbuckers, right? It's two humbucker guitar. This, by the way, if anyone is a guitarist in here is interested, I don't work for Fender, but this is I think they call these Ventura 70s or something. This is a Mexican Fender, and I love this thing, man. It plays great. I've done a lot of shows with it. Stays in tune, great tone, and I can play the classic rock stuff on this quite well, and then clean it sounds great. Just a really good guitar. I'm cutting out. Well, if it's my internet, I can't do anything about it, so hopefully we can hang in there. Headstock is much better than the Tele. I don't have a problem with the Tele headstock. Is it just my end? I don't know. No one said anything, Marlon. Not sure, buddy. They Are All Tens as a kid. Shoot the Thrill was my fave, probably. Yeah, that's like Back in Black. I would say is a perfect album. There are no skips. Every track on there is great. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm fine. Okay, I'm not cutting out. Thanks, Q. Fender's take on a Les Paul. Yeah, that's kind of how I look at it, Brian. Because you can do anything you can do with Les Paul, you can do with this. And I'm kind of specific about where I'll take my Les Pauls. When I take my Les Pauls out, it has to be, the environment, the bar has to be somewhere where I feel safe with the Les Paul. You know what I mean? It's not going to get knocked over by a drunk. And when I'm not feeling great about the place, like the place I'm playing this coming Saturday, where like people are going to be walking right by my stuff, I'm going to be using this. I ain't taking a Les Paul. And no Q, I've never broken a headstock on a Les Paul, and that's part of the reason why. When Telly and Strat had a baby and baptized was by DiMarzio humbuckers. Yeah, I don't know what kind of pickups. I'm not sure what they call these. I'm not sure what they call these wide something or other, but they sound really good. Extend the pickguard, Lord, Oh, that's part of the reason why I like it. I like the look of the pickguard. For me, this is all like Ron Wood, or not Ron Wood, Keefe. But Keefe's, I think he had one with two humbuckers, but I think he's more known for playing one that had the humming and a single here. But this is all Keefe. This is all Keefe. Keefe from the Stones. He will outlive us all. Yeah, Jared plays all fingers. Yeah, and somehow Tyler, I don't know how he's able to get, but I mean he gets so much dynamics out of his hands. He's just a masterful player, and he's just like the guy can play pretty much any style, and it all works. Is that a guitar case behind that? So that guitar case, okay, is about, say, 4 feet high, maybe a little over 4 feet high, and that's a guitar case for my Firebird. It fits in that case. So when the Firebird isn't in there, I rent that out. I got a family of 4 living in there right now. They don't come out very often. They're very quiet, so they don't disturb me, and they always pay their rent on time. When I play out, I use a gold top Les Paul every time. I'd say West Coast Dave, welcome. Good, man. Yeah, if I had if I was playing probably places as nice as you're playing, I probably would do that too. But some of the places I play, when there's folks like literally stepping on your board as they walk in and out of the bathroom, it's like, not all the places. I mean, most of them are pretty cool. But these bars that decide they want bands as an afterthought, and there's no stage, and they stand up against the wall and people are walking by you, man, I'm not risking a Les Paul in a guitar stand. There's no way. It's best track for me, like the small solo in between verses. Yeah, that's another great song. They're all that whole record is great. I've never heard Jared sing. I didn't even know he sang, Brian. Cool. Matteo Mancuso must have the craziest fingerstyle. Yeah, he plays guitar like a bass player because he's doing this. right? Yeah, it's got a crazy technique. Okay, let me see. I know a lot of riffs off Back in Black. I'm trying to remember this one here. You just put it back in the case hack and carry it with you everywhere. Yeah, between sets, yeah. If there was room to even have a case up, I would put it back. Well, the thing is, yeah, it's just a pain in the ass to put in the case and take it out, put in the case and take it out. Especially, I mean, you got usually 15 minutes between sets, so. And there's usually no room for the case. I just feel safer just not taking it. And that's the thing, too. I don't feel like I'm lacking anything when I take this instead of a Les Paul, because this, to me, it sounds just as good. Giving the dog a bone. That's it. Thanks for the sub, SG Tom. SG Tom, as in SG Guitar. Are you a guitar player? A lot of guitar talk on this channel. Music talk and guitar talk. And so far, kind of hitting both targets. What other riffs do I know from that record? I did Hell's Bells. I did Have a Drink on Me, Giving the Dog a Bone. Back in Black. I don't want to do the obvious one. Shook Me All Night Long. I said it. Back in Black's a perfect record, and that's a great song, but I've heard it too many times. Yeah, exactly, West Coast Dave. Exactly. Women like it if you carry a guitar case or two. If they're filled with $100 bills, maybe. I really miss the being loud on stage, the good old days. Yes, sir, SG Tom. Cool. Yeah, well, I'm not ever really super loud. I mean, I'm loud enough that I can hear myself over a drummer, but I mean, I'm not cranking. I'm not playing out of no 412 cab. I'm playing out of a 12-inch combo most of the time. Guthrie Govan, since he came out, I vote no. I really like Guthrie Govan. I've seen Guthrie Govan. I saw him with the Aristocrats a few years ago, and he's not human, but he's an absolute monster. I mean, there's he's I forget his first name, Mancuso, Mateus or Mancuso, whatever, the Fingers guy. And then there's Matusa Sato, another guy. I mean, I would just say there's guys, probably, I'm sure there's guys technically as good as Guthrie, but Guthrie's on a different level. I think what I personally like, I mean, I like guys that have technique and all that, but for me, they got to be super musical. And one thing I find with Guthrie is he's super musical, Erotic Cakes, if you've never listened to that record, it's an instrumental record. It's a Guthrie record. I mean, in one song, he cuts through like 3 or 4 different styles. And it's not prog. It's just a mash of all these different things. But he sails through them all. And it's really musically interesting and cool and hooky and just phenomenal. I love that record. 2412 cabs, Cindy. No, I think Shit. Well, okay. I'm not gonna say. I was just gonna say I've never used the 412 at a gig, but I did once, one time, and I had to borrow someone's to do it. The one time that I use a Marshall head in a 412 cab at a gig, one time in the 90s. But or no, okay, I'm lying. I did a New Year's Eve gig in when I got to play in California. I used one there. But apart from that, it's basically all my stage has been amps, and if I gotta be louder, I mic them. Always an Asian kid better than yeah, exactly, Mr. Rock. Yeah, some 12-year-old will sit there and you know play Polyphia or whatever that band is called. Rada Cakes is amazing. Five Waves, Sevens. Yeah, it's a great record. I love Rada Cakes. And I mean, the aristocrat stuff. Some of it for me is a little hard to get into. There is some cool stuff in there, but some of it is just a little too out there. But I think probably the most easy to get into, if we're talking strictly Guthrie, is probably Erotic Cakes. I don't know how many other solo albums he's got. That's the only one I've listened to. I'm sure he's got more than that, but that's the one I've listened to. Here, this is for Quentin. And now I'm fucking it up. That's like a tongue twister. Love Bites is the best metal band at this moment. Very, very impressive. I've never heard of Love Bites, Mr. Rock. Wally in the Box number 2. How you doing, man? Yeah, you got me live. Do this once a month, Wally in the Box. Nice to see you, man. Wally on the Box number 2. What happened to Wally in the Box number 1? Are you his replacement? I saw Lukather recently. Yeah, Lukather's a beast, yeah. Another guy's super musical, right? With a lot of chops. It's a mixture of Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Rammstein, and so on. Okay. I like the Iron Maiden bit and the Judas Priest bit. The Rammstein, not so much. Fastway. Yeah, Fastway, man. That first record is really good. You know, say what you will. That's got to be one of the best riffs ever written for me. You know, and then there's Heft. There's this, if you've ever heard the album, there's this big sort of very Zeppelin-y song, sort of almost like a Kashmir kind of vibe called Heft. I love Heft. Oh. Gonna see Robin Trower, I think is what you meant, West Coast Dave, at the Fillmore. Yeah, amazing he's still doing it, eh? And from what I hear, he's still playing really well. He's still got it. That's one thing. Well, I can't make a blanket statement with guitar players, but I will say this: you're more likely to still be able to play in your older age than you are to sing. So he's strictly a player, and he still sounds okay. And he's got to be Robin Trower, man. He's got to be, if not 80, damn near 80. There's a new Cheap Trick album coming out. I had no idea, Tyler. That's cool. And there's speaking of singers who can still do it, man, Robin can still sing his ass off. Still an amazing singer. Some of these virtuoso guys were in actual bands like it was back in the day. As much as I respect that there's only so much instrumental guitar music that I can take. Yeah, you know what? At the end of the day, Daniel, it's really about songs. So even if it's an instrumental, like if it's an interesting song, like Satriani, not his more recent stuff, but back in the Extremist days and surfing days, that some of that stuff was just, I mean, there was no vocal, but he was playing a vocal lines on his guitar, and they were good songs, and they held your interest, right? what I can't get into is instrumental music where, it's just super busy and it just doesn't really, there's not a lot of musicality going on, you know. Cheap Trick. Yes, Cheap Trick are cool. Yeah, I love Cheap Trick. Yeah, we do. Well, what Cheap Trick song would a cover band do? Geez, I don't know. I Want You to Want Me. It's fun to play, and it always goes over. You've seen Cheap Trick that much, eh, Brian? Cool, man. I've seen Cheap Trick with Aerosmith. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, Had to be taken down. I got too political on the channel and took it down, so YouTube didn't do it for me. My bad. Yeah, Wally in the Box. Yeah, I don't. You'll never hear me do any political stuff on this channel. This channel's all about music. Just at this point, just stay the hell away. Just don't even mention it. Just we're here to get away from that shit, right? This is just a hangout talking about stuff that we dig, music and guitars and whatever. Just stay the hell away from that shit. The further you're from it, the better you'll feel. Do I like Dream Theater? In small doses. West Coast Dave. I can't say I'm the biggest fan. Um, you know, I just listened to the first record not too long ago. Um, the debut, and it was all right. It's okay. I don't mind the technical playing and stuff, but like I said with Rush earlier, as long as there's like, you know, sort of, stuff that cool riffs or catchy bits. But sometimes I think with Dream Theater they get a little too carried away in the technical and get away from the musicality a little bit for me. So in small doses, I can do Dream Theater. Steve Vai with the Hydra. Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know how he plays it. What's got like 4 necks on it or something? Gonna Raise Hell. Need You. Yeah, those are good songs. How's the action on that Strat? You mean this Telecaster? Very low. Typically, all my guitars are set with very low action and, low to the point that, the strings don't buzz all over the place. And I use 9 to 42s. Because talking about getting older and playing guitar, the older I get, I find that my fingers get real tired real fast. So even when, in a bar gig, like I'll have to, like if I've got solos where I kind of got to do a little bit much, kind of spread those out a bit because I need time to recover. So it's pretty sad. Whereas, when you're in your 20s, you can, whittly all day long. But I can't. I can whittly now for like 5-minute increments. If that. Yeah, last thing I want is politics on my guitar viewing. Exactly, Brian. Yeah. Yeah, music over toxic politics. That's G Tom, yeah. Saw Dream Theater once, that was enough. Tell us how you really feel, Brian. I don't know one Dream Theater lick. Not that I could play it anyway, but I don't know any Dream Theater licks. My next concert might see. Oh, they're still out there? I thought they were done. I thought Blue Oyster Cult was done. Yeah, I saw something recent on YouTube, a recent show that they did, and Buck still sang okay, and his playing is phenomenal. But I know Eric's voice was really weak. He had no power. I don't know if he was maybe getting over a cold or something. I mean, it wasn't like he was out of key or whatever, but he just had no power behind his singing. So I don't know if I don't know if that was just an anomaly and he's good other shows. Don't no idea, but that's something I'd watch out for. Learn the hard way. Yeah, Wally in the box. So again, it's okay to have your opinion, right? But in the YouTube world, it's best to keep it to yourself. Is Far From Image in Words album sad? Yeah, Image in Words was probably the most musical, right? And you can get pick harmonics off this quite easily, which I like. I love doing pick harmonics. I'm still Wally though. Thought the Dream Theater was bad. It was all over the place. Yeah. 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 Just a lot going on, right? Singers that need to hang it up. David Lee Roth. You know, I watched a video the other day, and there was a guy, and I don't know, maybe he's listening to a different David Lee Roth, but he was saying that David Lee Roth can still sing. Like he can still sing the songs correctly, but he chooses not to. Okay. Because what I've seen of David Lee Roth is he's basically talking, and every once in a while he pushes, and when he pushes, 9 times out of 10 he's out of key. So I don't know. I think his voice has been shot for, I'm going to say 20 years, and I'm probably being generous. Billy Gibbons is the first pinch harmonic guy. Yeah, right off the first record, right? SG Tom, he was doing pinch harmonics. Rob Halford can still sing pretty well. Vince Neil's another one. Yeah, he's got to go. He's not even singing words anymore. He's making sounds. And he's reading his sounds off a teleprompter. Yeah. It's pretty sad. They're doing a Vegas residency right now. You couldn't pay me to go see Motley Crue. And I saw them, the last time I saw them was when they opened for Kiss. And it was, yeah, well, not good. But Tommy Lee's a hell of a drummer. And Mick Mars was still great. But, I mean, I saw them on that, what was that tour they did with the Psycho Circus, or, no, it's a Kiss thing, Carnival Circus, some crazy carnival, it was that tour. You probably know what it is if you're a Motley Crue fan. And even then, they were horrible. All vocals on tape, for sure. Janis Joplin, she was a hell of a singer, yeah. If you're paying to see David Lee Roth, that's your fault, Brian. Let the dude do whatever he wants. He's just being David Lee Roth. Yeah, lots of David Lee Roth love. Can't say. I work with a guy who's like, can't say nothing negative about David Lee Roth. That's his man. Can't say nothing bad about him. Yeah, I saw David Lee Roth at the casino years ago. Man, this would have been probably in the 90s. And he had a different band, whatever. But he was still nailing it. But that was in the 90s. BOC still tour regularly. I think they perform more Buck songs. Yeah, because I think Eric's voice needs a rest. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, I want to hear him live. Or Leslie West. Oh, we're talking the pinch harmonics. Was Leslie West the first one? I know right off the first, right from the first. Well, when did the first ZZ Top record? Was it 71 or something? Probably 71, 72. And he's definitely pinch harmonics on that. Leslie West was before that, but I can't think of a song where I've heard um, a mountain song with a pinch harmonic. Off the top of my head, I can't think of one. Carnival of Sins. That's it. Carnival of something. Yeah, yeah. Even then, Vince was horrible. Says Doctor Feelgood. Okay. Going to Judas Priest and Alice Cooper. Yeah, they were just here, eh, Christopher? They were just here. But here's my issue with Priest, and I saw them once. So I gotta go back a little bit. So I would think it was Firepower, the Firepower tour, right? So they announced the tour, whatever, and they were coming to a casino near me, well, 2 hours away. Anyways, I got tickets right away, and for me and a buddy to go. And then not too long after they sold, the tickets went on sale. They announced that Glenn Tipton has got, what's he got? Is it cerebral palsy he's got? I think. And he's not going to tour with them. And so right away I'm like, what? And then now Andy Sneap's going to play the Glenn Tipton stuff, or going to replace Glenn. So and then I go see the show. And at the time, Andy Sneap looked like an accountant. Like he had short hair, and he just looked like it looked like a guy the accountant. They gave him an Explorer and they put him on the stage. Zero stage presence. It just totally ruined it for me. I never had a problem with Richie Faulkner. I think Richie Faulkner was great. He is great. Taking KK's place, I could get into that. That was fine because he plays the shit properly and it sounded great. And he was doing the majority of the heavy lifting on that show. But when the little bit that Andy Sneap did, I'm like, no, I ain't playing that right. And I don't know. I gotta have Glenn. So I said after that, and I told my buddy Mike, I go, this is the last Judas Priest show I'm gonna see because Glenn has to be there because Glenn's my guy, right? Just like David Lee Roth is Christopher's guy. Glenn's for Judas Priest. For me, it's all about Glenn. And when Glenn's not there, as great as Richie is, and Rob, and Ian Hill, and Scott, but I gotta see Glenn. I gotta see Glenn. Played my small town this summer, but we seen Foreigner, Loverboy. You saw Foreigner? You saw a band that called themselves Foreigner. Yeah, I did a quick video on this the other day. You know, there was a couple of ads in the summertime for bands that were coming to play at a casino here, and one of them was Foreigner, and the other one was Nazareth. And so they're, in the advertisement, they're playing their music, right? So there's, playing the Foreigner 4 hits, and then they announce Nazareth show, and they're playing the Nazareth hits. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I know, and if you're a fan of any, even a casual fan, you'll know that Dan McCafferty passed away years ago, and Manny Charlton passed away years ago. Daryl Sweet, the drummer, passed away. The only guy that's still Nazareth is the bass player, right? But if you don't know that and you hear the ad, you're going to think, oh man, I'm going to go see Nazareth and they're going to sound like that. But they're not, because that's not the band you're going to go see. And with Foreigner, it's even worse because nobody from those songs that you hear on the advertisement are on that stage, right? I saw Foreigner with Kelly singing many years ago, but at least Mick Jones came out, and actually that was the band that had Jason Bonham on the drums. But I wouldn't go see Foreigner now. I think it's false advertising, and I think they should, because people don't know, man. It's like, oh, I'm going to go see Foreigner. I'm going to go see Nazareth. And then you're seeing a reasonable facsimile. You're not seeing the real bands. But that's just my thing. Sam and Dave tour was pretty killer. Okay. BLC played Small Town, but we seen Foreigner, Loverboy. Loverboy, I went to see them this summer because I still had Mike Reno and Paul. What's the drummer or the guitar player's name? So that they had those two guys. I don't know if the other guys were original guys. Although I know not the bass player because he passed away. I don't know about the keyboard, the original drummer. So I went to see them, and the sound in that the whoever was mixing the sound in that auditorium should be shot because the sound was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I mean, they'd be singing a song I wouldn't even. It was unrecognizable until they got to the chorus. I'm like, oh wait, I think I know that one, right? It was terrible. And I mean, Mike Reno's just he's a pretty heavy set guy now, so he's just walking around. But I got to give him credit. He's trying his best to hit the notes. He's getting there sometimes. Sammy Hagar is shot too, but people are afraid to say it. Who's 75 and still kicks everyone's ass? Uncle Ted. Yeah, he can still play really, really well. Sammy Hagar, yeah, he's, somewhat there. Yeah, suck without Glenn and KK. Like I said, I don't have as much an issue with the KK thing. For me, it's more of a Glenn thing because I've always been a Glenn guy. It was great. I've seen them and it was fun, but it's not really Foreigner. Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying they're a bad band, Brian. It's just the way they advertise them. They should say, hey, you know what? These are the guys that are playing the Foreigner music. What is that Fender you're holding? Thanks, bro. This is I think it's called the Ventura 70s Deluxe. It's 2 humbuckers. This is a Mexican Fender, and it's really good. I really like it. More due to that fact, but yes, it's mostly casuals at a casino. Yeah, people like, and funny enough, who opened for Foreigner? Just to kind of underline my point, Quiet Riot. And the only guy on Quiet Riot, because they all passed away, except for Rudy Sarzo. He was the only guy from Quiet Riot on that stage. They had that Izzy, what I forget his last name. The guy used to be in Love Hate, Izzy. He was a singer. Band does sound like Foreigner, though. I saw Stone Temple Pilots several months ago. That was a really good show. I don't even know who's singing for Stone Temple Pilots now. Stone Temple Pilots, I know that I like that band. I've always liked that band. Their musicality is amazing. One of the best guitar solos ever is on a song called Lady Picture Show. Just amazing guitar solo on that song. Like when Van Halen toured after 85. Sammy Hagar with DLR. Well, they don't look like Loverboy now. Like Mike Reno was walking around and he was having a hard time even doing that. He's a heavy guy. That guy needs to lose some weight. Yeah, bad sound. You know who else I went to see, Daniel? I went to see the Gene Simmons solo band. I went all the way to Windsor to see that. That was like a 3-hour drive. And the sound was horrendous. It was terrible. It was just like ice picks, man. It was all this sharp, and I'm like, who the hell, man? Like, it wasn't just me. I was sitting with my buddy, and it was like, man, it sounded horrible. So it's much, and I love the music he was playing because he was doing a lot of, deep cuts, and he was doing Beatles songs. It was great, but the music, but it sounded terrible. You see what you can and enjoy it. Yeah, that's all you can do. Total Eclipse. Again, my point is the advertising. They should call it like it is, because for the casual person, they won't know that, hey, there's only one original member or it's a different singer or whatever. Like in the advertisements, why don't they put clips of the current band singing those songs? You get what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying here. It's the fraudulent part of it. Rudy's had an amazing career. Yeah, man. Quiet Riot, Ozzy. Played with Dio for a while. Jeff Gutt is the singer for STP. Is very good. Yeah. I don't know if they put out any new music. Have they? If they've put out any new music, I definitely want to check it out. I haven't really looked into that. I don't know if did they put out any music with Linkin Park singer when they had him, who's also passed away? Jizzy Pearl, thank you. I said Izzy. Jizzy, yeah. Hey, Christopher. Banned a few months ago, just terrible. Can't hit anything. Yeah, Stephen Pierce. He's he's another one. Yeah, STP's amazing. They're great musicianships, man. The DeLeo brothers, the bass player and the guitar player, amazing players. Like Weiland, but he's not doing an imitation. Oh, that's cool, Brian. You never liked Piercy's voice. Well, Piercy was never a real singer. But he was cool. He was cooler than shit, right? If you're cool, you don't have to be able to sing. They should have they play. I don't know what you mean with that, Wally. Whitesnake 2, yeah, David Coverdale. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be touring anymore. I think his voice is. I think he's even admitted that he can't do it anymore. I think he's retired officially. I think officially. I think. They do make new music. Okay. Take a ride. Okay. Yeah, I gotta check that out, Brian. Because I always loved STP, man. I thought they were like a cut above, you know what I mean? Of those bands that were coming out at the time. Them, Soundgarden. You know? They got a 2018. Oh, wow, I'm really behind. Okay, I gotta check those out. I gotta check out those STP records. Yeah, Rudy was in Whitesnake. That's right. Yeah, I missed Whitesnake. So he was in Whitesnake, Ozzy, Quiet Riot, played with Dio. He's been in a lot of different projects. First two Rat albums are classics. Yeah, no argument there. Rat was great because of Brian. Brian and I'm drawing a blank. The guy who passed away. It'll come to me. Shit, I just had it and I lost it. Shit. Robin Crosby. You play for them. How long have I been on here? Well, it's already after 10. Yeah, I had, I think it was more drugs than anything, Brian. Yeah, and speaking of Quiet Riot, Carlos Cavazo was on the last record they recorded. Hey, Paul, what's up, brother? You were up my way. You're in Canada? Well, listen to that pitch. Oh, dogs can hear that. Oh, is that Total Eclipse? Is that Ace? What's that song? Passed out at a Quiet Riot concert in '85. Too much whiskey. Missed the show. Passed out cold. Wow. Spaceman, yeah. I hope you suffer. Threw up in the parking lot. Always feels better once you throw up. Always feel better once you throw up. All right. We've been going for an hour here, folks. I usually go for about an hour. I want to thank you guys all for hanging out. This was a lot of fun. Hope you guys had a good time. I put out a video today. I did a cover of Escape by Alice Cooper, so go and check that out. Check out the show that, if you haven't seen it, the show that we did on Thursday. Bands we just can't get into. That was pretty cool. Best song from his solo album. Yeah. Rip It Out. Take My Heart. You wanted it. Yeah, I love that song. I love that whole record. That Ace solo record is awesome. Snowblind. No, that was Rip It Out. Snowblind. Oh. I can't. I'm trying to. I don't know how to play it. I just know that. I can't. I don't know the chords. Anyways, folks, I want to thank you all for hanging out. You guys rock. Just meant all your favorite. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Thanks. And if you're new to the channel, hopefully you're all in here. You're already subscribed, but make sure you hit the thumbs on the way up, way up, way up, way out. Hit the like below. That would be awesome. And yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. This is really cool. Really enjoyed this. Hope you guys had a good time and have a great rest of your weekend. And we'll catch you all soon. Cheers. Take care.